Hey guys, if you're a restaurant owner, I'm going to show you something today that's going to help you grow your restaurant in the simplest way you may have ever seen. You see, after working with over 2,500 restaurant concepts across the United States, we've seen a lot of patterns. And it's very interesting to us to see where people consistently make the same mistakes, specifically when it comes to their marketing. You know, it's one of those things where people always think,
if I just had some new killer menu item before I was on the better street.
I've heard every reason in the books that honestly is just not the case. And I'm going to show you how you should be setting up your marketing to be successful in your restaurant in the simplest way you've probably ever seen. So without further ado, let's dive in. Real quick, if you guys are new to our channel, my name is Brett Linkletter. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Dineline and Dishio. We help restaurants grow and scale their business through marketing. So if you're new to our channel, just be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you have any questions on this video or about what we do, you can always just comment on this video or another one. But anyway, let's dive right in. Okay, so what you're looking at here right now on the screen is a very simple way to set up your marketing. You know, a lot of people say that you should focus your attention on marketing on every single channel. They say you want to be omnipresent. Now, I'm not necessarily against being omnipresent, but I think for new marketers or even expert marketers, that is sometimes a difficult task to do, especially if you're trying to post across every single channel organically, and that's your marketing. It's very difficult to keep up with it on every single channel, in addition to the comments, responses, everything. So you are a restaurant owner, potentially. You're already doing too many things as is. Let's try to limit this to make it as simple as possible. Sound good? Let's dive in. So when it comes to marketing, I want to think first about my new acquisition. You hear it all the time. Restaurants tell us if we just get people in the door, we'd be successful. Now, I'm here to tell you that's not usually the case also, but I know from working with tons of you that you want to get new customers, obviously. So let's talk about what we do to get new customers in the door specifically. Number one, I like to focus on Google. A lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people say Meta. Google to me is the best place to get new acquisition for your restaurant business, and here's why. Within Google, there's two KPIs I really like. Number one, store visit tracking. Number two, you can track for credit card swipes. You can literally see when you run an ad if someone came to your restaurant and swiped their credit card. I'll get into that in a little bit, but just so you guys know, this is why I like Google. Store visit tracking, and I'm tracking for credit card swipes. Okay, you got it. Let's move on. What are the KPIs I like to look at with store visit tracking and tracking for credit cards? Generally speaking, I'm going to spend a budget of about $1,500 per store. That's just the average, okay? We have some clients that we spend way more. We have some that want to spend less, but generally speaking, we don't recommend spending less than like $1,200 or $1,300 a month if you truly want to make an impact. $1,500 just tends to be kind of around the average. It's gone up a little bit each year. But again, we got clients that spend way more. This is just average benchmark, all right? Okay, and that's a per store basis, by the way, if I haven't said that already. Now, when it comes to store visit tracking, let me explain this to you real quick. Store visit tracking literally allows you to run ads on Google. And when people search best sandwich near me or best pizza near me, Italian near me, or whatever, you will pop up as an ad if you set this up correctly. And you will be able to see that when someone saw your ad or engaged with your ad, that they literally walked through your door. How does Google know? Well, Google owns a product called Google Maps. That little blue dot on the map, yeah, they have access to that. And as an advertiser, if you meet certain benchmarks, you also can have access to that. Now, one thing I will say, guys, Google's very strange on who they give access to. I've spoken to massive brands that can't do store visit tracking. I've also spoken to some brands that are doing only $100,000 a month on one store and have store visit tracking. So first, just see if you have this. If you do, you're one of the lucky ones. If you don't, you're going to have to work with someone like us who has access and can give you access, by the way. But assuming you have access, you can literally track when someone sees your ad or engages with your ad and then walks through your doors. And the reason they have your address is because, well, it's 2025. We're almost 2026. I hope you have Google My Business listing, right? I hope you've done that at least. And so if you've done that, then, well, Google can see when that little blue dot gets to your address. Simple as that, okay? Benchmarks I like to look at, by the way. If you get people in your door for less than $5, crushing it. Now, what does that mean again? I'm going to explain this in just a little more detail for those who are still like, I don't know what he's talking about, okay? Because this happens all the time. I'm looking to try to get someone to go through a restaurant door for less than $5. Maybe you're thinking, well, how the heck do you do that? If I spent $15 and 3 people walk through the door, that means my cost per acquisition, or my CAC, cost to acquire a customer, is $5. Does that make sense? So all you got to do is you see your total spend divided by how many store visits you got. That gets you your cost per acquisition. All right, makes sense? If you don't have any questions, if you have any questions about this, please write in the comments below. I will answer you personally, I promise. Just want to make sure you're super clear on this. I know it seems pretty basic for those who already get this, but honestly, a lot of people don't get this concept. So you got to get this, okay? That's number one. If you're sub $5, you're awesome. Sub 10 is still pretty good though. Sub 15 is decent, but it starts getting in the range of like you got a lot to optimize with. Sub 10, good. Sub 5, great. So that's where we want to aim for. But ultimately what this comes down to, you guys, is really like what makes sense for your business. So for example, let's just say your average ticket is $100, okay? Average order value $100. Technically speaking, right? You could afford to spend a lot more than 5, 10, 15, maybe even 20 or $30 to get someone in the door. It's just like at scale and at volume, you want to stay in these lower numbers. Like if it's going to cost you $50 to get someone in the door, like that's just not a good situation. You got food costs, you got rent, you got other things. If your cost per acquisition is $50, it's a trash marketing campaign. Okay, it is. But I will say still, again, if your average ticket is that high and you're willing to spend it, maybe it's $200, maybe it's even $300. Damn, it's probably going to get higher. By the way. If your average ticket's $300, it's probably going to be a little more expensive than $5. But then again, you never know. I'm just giving you guys the benchmarks, all right? Now, credit card swipes. The reason credit card swipes are also amazing, but they're not as accurate as store visit tracking is, well, Google doesn't have your credit card every single time. And the other thing about this is, like, let's just say we're going to dinner. You and the person watching this video, okay? And I say, maybe your name's John. We're like, hey, John. I'm like, let's go to dinner. And you're like, cool, where? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll find a spot. Long story short, I see an ad from some cool spot. I look it up. It looks like a good spot to go to. So we go to dinner, but then you pay, John. It's not going to track my credit card swipe. Make sense? Cool. All right. So those are the 2 benchmarks I look at, generally speaking. And if I can get them in KPI, sub 5, 10, or $15, I'm going to scale that campaign. And I'm going to spend more than $1,500 because it's working. All right, good, cool. Number 2, once someone gets in the door, what do? I don't want to just forget about these guys. I got the customer. Let's continue getting the customer. Let's continue monetizing this person. Let's continue growing the business with these customers. Cool. All right. So what do? I need to have my data capture systems set up in place. What does that mean? It means in store, I'm going to use QR codes, and I can already see some people watching this video rolling their eyes thinking, oh my God, the QR codes, it's not COVID anymore. I don't want this. I get it, but you're missing out big time, bro, by not having QR codes. Here's why. QR codes give us the ability to capture data on every single person who comes into your restaurant and scans that QR code menu, or that QR code to view your specials wine list, or that QR code to opt in for your loyalty program, or whatever it is. Get someone to scan a QR code and turn the physical into the digital. Why do I want to do that? Let's talk about another example. E-commerce. If I want to sell a pair of sunglasses and I'm selling them online, if I'm the e-commerce brand, I can track, where along the process someone is at in the customer journey, from everything from the add to cart to checkout to getting to the thank you page. Why can I do that? Well, because everything's digital, right? Unlike the restaurant space where most things are physical. You do business in person, physically. I want to make that person digital so that I can capture their data and I can see where they are in the customer journey, and so I can remarket accordingly. Make sense? Cool. If it doesn't make sense, guys, please write some comments below in this video because I want to help you understand this concept. If you can understand this concept from this video, I promise you, you will make a lot more money this year and next year and forever. This is like marketing broken down, and I don't know, it's going to be like maybe a 20-minute video. We'll see. I don't know. But QR codes, so big. So maybe you're thinking, by the way, how do I make my QR codes? How do they capture data? Whatever. So I'm a little biased because I also co-founded a company called Dishio. Our website's called dish.io if you haven't heard of us. It's the easiest way to create QR code menus and do a bunch of other amazing things for tracking data, capturing data, and sending that data to the big ad platforms. It's the best method you can do for creating all these assets and storing and capturing data. QR codes are great because you can turn the physical to digital. All right, that's it. Other ways I want to capture data. Point of sale. If you have online ordering, that's capturing data on customers. If you have a CRM, that's really rich data you can use for remarketing. But ultimately, like, you want to turn, again, the physical to the digital. So there's some way to track these customers, okay? And then last is Instagram link in bios, your website. These are also great ways to go physical to digital and capture data. Dishio also helps with that, by the way, where essentially it can plug into your website. You can create a new link in bio for your Instagram, and it can capture data accordingly, right, from these different assets. So Dishio is just a great asset for capturing data, right? If that's something you need help with, I think it's going to be the best, easiest method. It's really not that expensive either. But anyway, this is what you want to do with the data capture. You want to drive traffic in. You want to capture data on your customers. And then what's going to happen is you're going to send that data back to Meta, Google, TikTok, etc. for remarketing. Because here's the thing. Now, as we're entering the remarketing phase, from the beginning, we only focus on Google. But you probably already knew this. Google and Meta are not the same company. And somehow we got to send our data from Google into Meta. How do we do that? Through the QR codes in store, through the point of sale, through the link in bios, through the websites, through capturing data and then redistributing it back out to the big ad platforms. Does that make sense? Okay, so now that we drove in all this traffic, captured their data, I'm going to now take that data that can be in the phone numbers, emails, pixel information, Google tags, etc., and I'm going to send it to these ad platforms, okay? I'm going to send it to these ad platforms, and I'm going to create custom audiences that I can use to remarket. But hold up, it gets even better, okay? Now pay attention because this is going to be a little difficult for some people to understand, okay? Just pay attention. I can also create audiences to no longer target in my new acquisition. Hold up. Whoa, what's going on? What do you mean, Brett? Why would I want to not target someone? Let me explain. I can create audiences of who I don't want to target because once I get someone in store, I want to use that audience to remarket, which is way cheaper, by the way, than cold traffic ads. Whoa, Brett, you're using all these marketing words. Cold traffic ads, what's that mean? Cold traffic ads are ads specifically targeting new people. Warm traffic ads are people that are already familiar with us, or they're hot, they're already customers, and I'm just remarketing. And this is really important because if I can do this correctly, I can run cold traffic ads, get people into my remarketing audience, remarket them for a lot cheaper to get them back, and I can reserve these ad dollars, the $1,500 a month, to only reaching new people every single time. So once I get you in store, I'm not spending these expensive ads on you again to get you back. I'm remarketing to you to bring you back. And how am I remarketing and getting you to come back? We also have KPIs for remarketing, and it also depends on the business though. So what does it depend on? It depends on your revenue channels. Do you want to just get walk-ins? Do you want to get reservations? Do you want to push catering? What about online ordering? Online ordering, you can track your cost per acquisition with a good system. Couple online ordering platforms that we've worked with in the past. We love Toast. We've seen owner.com work really well. Deliver Logic works really well. There's a bunch out there. If you don't have a direct online ordering system that can plug and play with these paid ads, then you switch. And if what I'm saying right now is confusing, please write some comments below and ask, because it's surprising to me how many people have an online ordering provider that you can't even run ads to and track if your ads actually led to a customer. That's what it's all about. We're basically trying to give you the same superpowers that the e-commerce brands have. And if your online ordering system doesn't have that, then don't use it. Okay, anyway, walk-ins, reservations, Open Table, 7 Rooms, Resi, all these platforms are great, okay? And the beauty of that is if I'm driving reservation traffic or if I'm driving online orders and I can see what my cost per reservation was, just like I tracked it up here, I can start bringing people back for really cheap because it's remarketing dollars. Remember, that's cheaper. And I can start pushing all the things that matter for about my business. Is what I'm saying making sense? I hope it does, because this is like the cream of the crop right here. This is the kind of stuff, I don't think I've ever really explained it in this much detail in a video online. This is going to be really, really important. This is probably the most important video on the internet right now about restaurant marketing, honestly. Super important stuff right here, guys. This is what makes you money. This is like our secret. Not so secret anymore. This is it right here. Okay, couple considerations to think about with all this. What should be my budget, Brett? You know, how much should I spend to grow this thing? How long is it going to take? Let's talk about it. Okay, so let's just say you're making $150,000 a month, okay? And, you know, I'm assuming you maybe have one store, maybe you have a couple stores, maybe you have 100 stores. It doesn't matter. I'm just looking on a per store basis. So you're doing $150,000 per month per store, okay? Let's just say your monthly sales goal is $200,000 per month per store. What's the gap? $50,000 per month per store. So you want to make up another $50,000. And I'm assuming, by the way, that you're going to retain this as your average. I'm going to assume that, you know, you're not a restaurant in Miami going into summer and you're about to lose half your sales. In this example, happens in Miami every single summer. My God, it's tough in the summer. It gets hot and everyone leaves. So I'm assuming these are the same numbers around year round. Okay. I'm assuming you want to get to 200,000 and the gap is 50,000. Well, next question to consider is, what is your average ticket? Let's just say your average ticket, $75. $75 for your average ticket on the two top table. Okay. So the next question is, how many customers do I have to get per month to make another 50? Really simple. Glad you asked. I just take 50,000 divided by my average ticket of 75. That means, oh, that's kind of a scary number. 666 customers. God, why did it have to be that number? Anyway, okay. 666. That seems kind of weird, but we're going with it. All right. 666 customers is what I need in order to get to this goal to make another 50,000 per month. So then you ask, okay, Brett, well, like, what does that mean? What do I need to spend? All right, well, when you do this formula here and you figure out what your cost per acquisition is here, you're also going to have a cost per customer also on the remarketing. So these numbers won't always be like perfect, but let's just say I'm only doing Google ads and, you know, you completely ignore me about getting Dishio and you completely ignore me about doing remarketing. And all you're doing is store visit tracking with Google as your main lever to get customers in the door, okay? By the way, you should do these things, but I'm just saying for this example, all right? So let's just say it costs you $10 to get someone in the door. And remember, I need 666 customers to make another 50,000. That is how it works, guys. That's how you reverse engineer this whole process. I tried really hard in this video to make it as easy as possible to understand for everyone, but it's more difficult in practice, obviously, right? That's why we're in business. That's why people pay us to get this kind of help. This is how it works, though. These are the ABCs of restaurant marketing. It really is this simple. You know, you don't have to post 1 million times a day. You don't have to work with 1 million different influencers. You don't have to do all these things. If you want to go ahead, be my guest. I'm not hating on it. I'm just saying, you know, for us being in business for the last 10 years, this is what we found is the easiest way to be successful. Now, there's a lot of other things I can strap onto the remarketing mix, right? I can do email marketing. I can do text marketing. There's a million other things I didn't mention. I'm just giving you guys right here, again, the most simple, the most straightforward way to grow your restaurant through paid advertising. This is how it works, guys. If you have any questions at all, write in the comments. Please let us know what questions you have. We are here to support you. We're here to help you. We have worked with a hell of a lot of restaurants. We know what we're doing. This whole process here is the system, but again, there's a lot of different components and there's a lot of different things you need to consider at every step of this process, from cold traffic to warm traffic, how to communicate with people, how to run ads, what type of creative to use. I'm just giving you the simplicity of it. Anyway, guys, hope you got a ton of value from this video. And if you want to see more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, comment your questions, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.